everyone. Hopefully, hope you look at bro flexing. Hope
Huh?
you guys are okay. Um, we're waiting on the white boy.
Yeah.
The white boy, as usual.
White.
Man, look, I tell you, some people just don't know time. Let me edit my
Mm.
privacy here so I let my Facebook people in. There we go. Welcome to the show, everyone. Um, this is going to be a good one because I think we're going to be talking mostly about how all politicians seem to love corruption and only a select few ever get caught and none of them ever pay.
That's right.
So hold on.
Two-tier justice
Eh,
system.
what is it that the mask said? Hold on to your lug nuts. It's time
Time
for an
for an
overhaul.
overhaul. the,
Oh man.
the
Man,
rat, the classic.
we'll be right back. So
Diane.
let us discuss this, shall we? We are going to talk about the one person that we're going to kick off things with is Mr. Menendez.
Mm.
Because he's the snacks is in the house.
Oh, snacks. with
He
the
is
smoke.
the one that has the most right now
Hey.
publicity, the most publicity on Mr. Menendez. Now, his the accusation is that he is involved in bribery. Bribery.
No.
No.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
There's
impossible.
no way. You know, these
Um,
people are angels, man. You know they are the best of the best of the best, and they would never do something like that.
right,
They
right. Well,
couldn't be in the position they're in if they're this corrupt.
Yeah.
is that
Mr. Late Pants.
no,
Yeah,
is this
Mister.
is that who I think it is?
It is. It is.
Who is that? You don't
No,
join the live.
no, that doesn't look. I thought it was what's his name?
Well, all right, hey, I'm gonna say this again.
What's
You
his
don't
name?
join the live. This ain't TikTok. You don't just get to jump in here
Yeah,
like you want to.
I thought it
Wrong
was AJ.
platform.
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was AJ.
Yeah, go to TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Cat.
I thought that
Okay.
was AJ. My bad. So,
All right, Cat.
hear me out. Hear me out, y'all. We have thanks to Corey. Give a big shout out to Mr. Corey for finding it is AJ. Um, for
Oh,
finding
that
this
is
bit of
AJ.
information. Okay, this bit of information is vital. Um, initially, no one knows what the full charge was, but we, thanks to Corey again, we found the sealed indictment against Mr. and Mrs. Menendez,
Ooh.
and we have
All right.
we have all the details, y'all.
It's not real.
No, it's not real at all.
You pulled that from Wikipedia.
Sealed.
You
Interesting.
conspiracy theorist.
Wikipedia. Okay, so let's read what the deal is, shall we? Okay.
Yeah.
The corrupt relationship resulted in Mr. Menendez, the defendant, promising to taking a series of official acts and breaches of official duty in exchange for bribes that benefited him both directly and indirectly through his wife, Nadine. First, Menendez promised to and did use his influence and power to breach his official duty in ways that benefited the government of Egypt
Mm.
and Will Hanna, the defendant, an Egyptian American businessman, among others. Among other actions, Menendez provided sensitive U.S. government information and took other steps that
Mm.
secretly aided the Egyptian government. Menendez also improperly advised and pressured an official at the United States Department of Agriculture for the purpose of protecting a business monopoly granted to Hanna by Egypt and used in part to fund the the bribes being paid to Menendez through his wife. Second, Menendez promised and did use his influence and power to breach his official duty to seek to disrupt a criminal sounds like his boss, a criminal
Yeah.
investigation and prosecution undertaken by the New Jersey Attorney Office,
Oh, of course.
related to Jose Uribe, the defendant, and his associates. And third, Menendez promised to and did use his influence and power to breach his official duty to recommend to the president the president nominate an official as U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey, whom Menendez believed could be influenced by Menendez with
Mm.
respect to federal
Mm.
criminal prosecution of Fred Davies, and to seek to disrupt the same prosecution.
Ooh, that's
So-
rough.
I got questions.
Mm-hmm.
Why the Department of Agriculture in reference to Egypt? What does Egypt have?
Well, it's what that guy's business was.
What was
And
the
the guy's
business?
business was to do a trucking business. He had an insurance business, and he
Mhm.
also had a farming business.
Mm.
And all of it had certain properties because he was an Arab, an Egyptian American. He had to have certain things okayed by the Egyptian government. And in
Mhm.
order to have that done here, he had to have some sort of pull. And the pull came through Mr. Menendez.
Mhm.
Now, the bigger thing here is that Menendez operates just like Biden, where he tried to coerce a certain investigation to
Right.
go the way he wanted it. That sound, like I said, it sounds
put
an
in
awful lot
somebody
like his
solid.
boss did. Didn't his
Yeah.
boss do that? Didn't his
Yeah,
boss do that?
they got rid of the
yeah.
prosecutor and put in somebody that was solid. At
Solid.
the time.
Yeah.
Solid.
I mean, and
Well,
isn't-
son of a
isn't-
bitch.
What he says.
Isn't that normal though? Don't they? Isn't like that's what's supposed to happen?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
how
know.
power works in Washington,
Oh,
doesn't it?
okay. Yeah, that's all.
So that's basic decorum of DC politics.
Yeah.
Now, look, see, that's just one. Imagine how deep that rabbit hole really goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one person that was given a favor. You know, you start digging deeper, you're gonna find all types of favors and backhand shakes and coins passed and secret handshakes and rituals and stuff. So that this is just the beginning. Nothing can stop what is coming. It is coming.
I'm trying to find his press release he did a couple days ago, where he basically blamed it all on being Cuban.
Yeah, he did. I have that.
Oh yeah, because he's a Cuban American, and this is just an attack on Cuba.
But
Even go ahead. It's fine.
just at the same time, the verbiage in that indictment kind of reads like he committed treason against American interests.
He
and
did.
he
That's what it was. He
favored
was selling it.
Let's find it here. I know I have it. I just have to find the time that I brought it up. Robert
I was trying to find it too.
Menendez.
Am I wrong on that assessment?
No, that's exactly what he was doing.
So he was a traitor.
Yeah, and what's going to happen to him?
Nothing.
You don't think anything's going to happen to him?
Nothing's gonna happen to him. Like they're gonna make a plea deal. He's gonna walk, and he's not gonna see jail time. Period. That's what's gonna happen to Bob Menendez.
They own those judges. They own the courts. They own it all. Do you think they're going to allow him to go to jail? What happens to freaking people that go to jail? They squeal. Once he starts squealing and he starts talking, he might get Epstein. So they're going to keep him out of jail to keep him quiet. And it's going to be a deal.
You have to look at how the Democrats are responding to Menendez and himself. None of that. There's only like a handful of people are calling for his resignation. Only a handful of people, right? Nancy Pelosi is skirting, like in a recent interview, was skirting around the fact that this guy did what he did. It's like, well, the Republicans are bad. That was her defense. Well, the Republicans are bad, so he's bad, but he's not as bad as the Republicans. Is how it really went down, is in her mind, right? So
sense.
like these people are. The only people that are calling for him to resign are the same people who's like, we cannot be seen as that party of like trying to say nobody's above the law. Then one of ours gets indicted for taking bribes when you're trying to go after the previous United States president, right? You can't have both of those exist at the same time.
That's right.
Here's your
Exactly.
boy. Here's your boy. He's
Oh, wait. Here he goes.
It's funny.
And cue
All of
victim
you are here today,
mentality.
especially the New Jerseyans who have joined me as I address the events of the last few days. On Friday, the Southern District of New York brought charges against me. I understand how deeply concerning this can be. However, the allegations leveled against me are just that, allegations. For anyone who has known me throughout my 50 years of public service, they know I have always fought for what is right.
Mm-hmm.
My advocacy has always been grounded
Mm.
in what I learned from growing up as a son of Cuban refugees.
Oh, there it is.
Angelina Menendez. Everything I've accomplished, I've worked for, despite the naysayers and everyone who has underestimated me. I recognize this will be the biggest fight yet, But as I have stated throughout this whole process, I firmly believe that when all the facts are presented, not only will I be exonerated, but I still will be the New Jersey's senior senator.
This is the best part
For
here.
now, I want to address 4 things.
Here it is.
First, a cornerstone of the foundation of American democracy and our justice system is the principle that all people are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Except for Trump.
Except for Trump.
And the fact that he used the word democracy, that's
a tell.
drives me insane when
Yeah.
American democracy. We are not a democracy. Everyone knows this. Everyone that's not a smooth brain or a window licker knows that we're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. Democracy is tyranny by the majority.
Yes.
That's why we're not a democracy. So the minute he said that, and the second point, you know someone's being genuine when they don't need a speech to get up there and talk their point. He needed a prefabricated speech that one of his fancy pants writers wrote for him. He rehearsed it and he got up there and talked it. And none of it genuine. You know, if he wanted to be real about it, be a real genuine person, he would have got up there behind that podium and just spilt it.
He would have said his piece.
Yep.
I agree with you. And one of the
ahead.
biggest things with this whole thing, with him saying that, is like everybody deserves like the innocent until proven guilty, unless you have a political ideology that doesn't agree with ours. Then you are automatically guilty no matter what. Even if you're proven innocent, you're still guilty. Period. Right? Because that's how they're treating Russell Brand, right?
Yeah, true.
Here's the thing about Russell Brand that really makes me mad, is that these women didn't come forward until after newspaper reporters started digging into all of his ex-girlfriends to find people that were willing to come forward because he got too famous. Right? So it was a concerted effort by the establishment in England and the UK to go after Russell Brand. In the same way they're going after Trump and disillusioning his companies right now by the judge through summary judgment. He didn't even get a trial. He didn't even get to present his side of the argument to anybody. The judge said, I don't agree with any of your lawyers' arguments, and I'm going to fine them for bringing up those, like trying to get it dismissed twice. Right? So that was the other thing. And then it's like, and then I'm going to decide for your case, period, because I don't like you. And then we're going to dissolve the Trump organization in New York, period.
Sounds pretty corrupt to me.
Right? Due process is great in a lot of the United States.
But for me, this is just another scare tactic. You know, they're mocking the American people every time they do stuff like this. They think we're stupid. They think we don't see the 2-tiered justice system. They really think we don't. And so you're constantly showing American people that these Kabbalists, elitists, draconians, lizard people, whatever you want to call them, can pretty much do what they want. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah, we'll put on a show and say we're gonna get rid of them. We're gonna put them in trial. And da 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 da. But at the end of the day, nothing ever happens, like we always say. Now, if that was you, Marlon, myself, Jay,
we'd be under the jail.
They'd have a billboard of us over the jail talking about this guy's done some bad stuff. So it's a messed up system, and we already know we're gonna forget about this in about 2 weeks. They're not even gonna talk about it.
You just have to look at Enrique Tarrio. A guy was sentenced to 22 years in jail for not even being there on January 6th.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That's
Menendez isn't even going to get close to 20 years for selling out the United States for gold bars. Not even close.
Got all the gold bars.
Speaking of gold bars,
he got the bar bars.
Yeah,
he got bar bars.
He got bar bars.
He got bar bars. Okay, and
Bars.
in or about June 2022. Federal agents executed a search warrant of the home and the safe deposit box of Mr. Menendez. In conducting these court-authorized searches, agents found certain of the fruits of Menendez's corruption and bribery agreement with Will Hanna and Jose Uribe and Fred Davies, including cash, gold, their luxury vehicle and home furnishings, over $480,000 in cash.
Wow.
Much of it was stuffed into envelopes and hidden in clothing, closets, and a safe was discovered in the home, along with over $70,000 in Miss Menendez's safe box. Some of the envelopes contained the fingerprints and DNA of Mr. Davies or his driver. Other of the envelopes were found inside jackets bearing Menendez's name and hanging in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's in the indictment. You should see the poster for the DA or like the that was showing it. It's even better.
This kind of reminds me of the picture. Remember when they raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago
Yes.
and they took a picture of the toilet with a piece of paper?
Like,
And just shoved it in there.
I'm like, these people are.
I like how they stage things for photos, right? They're just like, here, throw it all on the ground and then just take a picture of it.
This is all just theater, man. It's political theater. This is just stupid.
This gets better. During the same search of the home, agents also found home furnishings provided by Hannah and Davies and a luxury vehicle paid by Uribe parked in the garage, as well as over $100,000 worth of gold bars in the home, which were provided by either Hannah or Davies. Two of the gold bars Davies provided are depicted in the photographs below. You want to know how they figured out who this belonged to and why he wouldn't go put it in a safety deposit box? It's because the stamp and the serial number led right back to Davies. So he couldn't go put this in a safety deposit box. There's no for him to. I guess he didn't think of smelting it down. I don't know, reshaping it or something.
Yeah,
and so he didn't think about doing that. He just kept the gold bars hanging around in case someone tried to break in. He figured they couldn't pick it up or something. I don't know.
I mean, considering he has over $550,000 worth of cash just lying around in his clothing.
Yeah.
And
I do that all the time.
Cuban, right? He's like, because of my Cuban parents, I learned that we have to just keep cash around, even though his family fled when Batista was still ruling.
Right.
His family was never under the communist regime. Period.
You never know. It might have been his, ancestral stuff. Here's a killer. Here's the killer. He makes about $174,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay. His net worth. His net worth is listed at $800,000, and you look at that and you think, yeah, that makes sense. Except that when you think about what he hasn't reported over that time by keeping in his house, made it possible for him to afford the kinds of house that he lives in, because he lives in an area where the average house sells for, ready for this, $1.4 million,
which is just a regular house in California.
Average. That's his average. So now let's do some math, because I did some math yesterday, but for this, let's do some math. $174K a year since he started. He's been in there 17 years. Would give him $2.9 million.
Yeah.
If he didn't spend a cent. Okay.
Which we know that's not
that right. And he only got married to this wife who works for this, a medical company that he's passed bills for.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
One of those companies.
Yeah. And he's only been married to her for about 3 years now. So she had no say in the house because it was bought in 2020. So he had that money before her. So when we look at that, then we look at other people who are about the same. Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House, and that's where she has been for most of her life. The crypt keeper herself. She makes $223,000 a year. Anyone care to guess what her net worth is?
I think her and her husband
$25 million.
No, more.
No, it's more than it's like 100 and almost 200 million.
Yeah. How much?
$120 million.
220.
Crap.
That's her net worth, $120 million, making $223,000 a year.
And she has better returns than Warren Buffett.
Yes. Now let's look at some bills that she has passed, right? Let's look at the bills in relations to the money that she's made. Most of the things that she has her hand in and taken lobbying for had to do with investments. And I think we've been through Nancy before and ran through her closet before, but she has had a lot of investments at the times that certain bills were passed to benefit certain things on Wall Street. So I don't know how it is that she's not under investigation the same way that Mr. Menendez, I guess because they didn't find any gold bars.
Here's a funny one. Does anybody remember a certain trip that Nancy Pelosi took to Taiwan?
Yes.
And what happened right after that?
Oh, nothing. Nothing happened.
The CHIPS Act.
No, it's nothing.
The Chips
Nothing
Act.
at
You know the thing about putting more microchips.
Yeah, but that
Don't tell people about that.
Yeah.
No, we can't.
Who,
We can't.
who also owns a sizable amount of stock in certain microchip manufacturing companies.
We can't talk about that. We're not allowed to talk.
That's Rumble topic, man.
That's Rumble talk.
No, we can't. We can't. No, I'm kidding. I don't care. We talk about whatever we want. But
It's just funny that, like, you know what Nancy Pelosi was probably thinking when Bob got indicted? Damn it, Bob! Why didn't you do it like everybody else and just
Yeah.
have stocks?
Just have stocks. And not just that, invest just before so no one can say anything.
Right?
You don't invest after, you invest before, then pass stuff, and then you make money legally.
Or you make a foundation in Haiti, okay?
That's the other thing. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
other thing. Now, he had multiple places where he had the money sent, and multiple things he had, not just the cash, okay?
Mhm.
Now, here is the linchpin to all of it, okay? So let's go through the businessmen. I really want to harp on this one section here, right here. Okay, now, if you real quick before we cover this part, in 2015, he had the exact same charges brought to him. How many of you knew that?
I did.
I have the paperwork for that too. And it was him and another guy, a doctor that has recently been exonerated through Mr. Trump, actually. He had the same charges as that guy, but that guy went to prison, but not him. Everyone, I think over 20 felony charges were dropped against Menendez in 2015. Lo and behold, fast forward to 2023, same charges of the kind, same kind of charges. And again, I said this last night, he ain't going to get charged for this. He's not going to do any time. You're not going to hear about it, like Michael said, you might hear some rumbles of it, and then it'll just go bye-bye.
It disappear.
It's not going to last.
it'll be
Especially in
something
election
new.
year.
It'll be something new next week, and something else will pop up, and they'll brush just like Hunter. It's gone. We don't talk about Hunter no more. When was the last time you heard about Hunter? You don't talk about Biden and his impeachment. When was the last time we talked about Biden and his impeachment that they were going to get him? It's just political theater, man. This was sweet, and there'll be something else to keep us occupied, a new shiny object.
Here's the thing that they're distracting everybody by. Hunter is suing Giuliani for the laptop.
I saw that.
Right. That's happening. Here's the other thing. 60 Minutes also released a little series saying how much money we're sending to Ukraine is also paying for small businesses in Ukraine and also their grain shipments. We're paying for farmers. We're propping up their entire economy with all the money we've sent, while Maui Burns and all the other people are suffering.
And if we do have a shutdown, the money is still wanting to go and
Oh yeah,
fund
the Pentagon
won't
said it
affect
doesn't
their
matter if
money,
Congress
though.
says no.
That's
We're
great.
still
It'll
going to
affect
send the money.
ours, but their money now. No, it won't affect theirs.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. That's a great deal. So here's the thing. Remember I told you he got married in 2020 to this lady, and she was unemployed before, and she had no real marketable skills because she was escaping her homeland, and she just happened to be employed that same year by this pharmaceutical company, who benefited from bills passed by Mr. Menendez. I mean, all happenstance, of course. There's nothing to see there, So here's the best part. At all times relevant to this indictment, Will Hanna, the defendant, who is originally from Egypt, resided principally in New Jersey, and maintained close connections with Egyptian officials. Hanna and Nadine, the wife, were friends for many years before she began dating Mr. Menendez. A court-authorized search in and about 2019 of the cell phone Hanna used revealed thousands of text messages between him and Nadine, many of which Nadine deleted from her own cell phone. Uribe, the defendant, is a businessman who resides in New Jersey and who works in the trucking and insurance business. And after having previously been convicted of fraud and having his insurance broker's license revoked, Uribe is a business associate and friend of Will Hanna, the defendant. Uribe developed a relationship with Robert and his wife after Hanna connected them in 2018. Davies is a New Jersey real estate developer. He got a nice, robust thing going on, okay? And he worked with the New Jersey Bank, a business associated with Will Hanna, again, Egypt, And about 2018 in October, Davies was charged by the United States Attorney's Office for the District of New Jersey with obtaining loans under false pretenses from that bank. But you don't hear about him getting blasted like Trump and his bad business policies. I'm
That's
just
right.
saying, Davies was a longtime fundraiser for Robert Menendez.
Oh, go figure. Go figure.
Indeed.
Yeah. But there's
Wonder
a
why
whole
that's
court
kind of-
case. There's a whole court case about Trump and his kids and how they do the they under-evaluated and over-evaluated their. Come on now.
Which the judge summarily decided to do on her own.
Yeah,
Without
that'll
any sort of
that'll get
evidence or
overturned.
defense.
That'll get overturned.
So, like, it's funny to me in this day and age that they can go so hard after Trump, right? But they miss this guy not once but twice. And the fact that they can go after Trump over every little thing, but they let Epstein go on for 2 decades.
Yeah, and the reason they overlooked this guy, they overlooked him because a lot of them are involved in it. A lot of them has code names that they use, fake names that a lot of them are involved. This is why they didn't go after this guy.
Yep.
You know,
Same
and
thing
that's on both sides of the aisles. That's Democrat and Republican. It's not
You're
one-sided.
right.
It's both sides.
Dude, you're right. The reason why is you just have to look at FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and how he got let off the hook. Right? They're not charging him anymore. Did you know that? Did anybody see that?
So I heard they brought him back in, and I heard that there was not going to be a whole lot done to him. That's
yeah.
bad.
So I wonder why when he was heavily polishing certain palms in Washington and even bragged about it, that they're just letting him go. I wonder why. It sounds like an Epstein situation, doesn't it?
Yeah, because he knows too much. He knows way too much. And you know what? Guys like that aren't stupid.
Yeah.
You know, they have a kill switch, right? Can we say that? I don't mean kill,
Yes.
but kill.
Yes.
They have a kill switch.
Dead man switch.
A dead man switch. So they're like, I'm gonna put all this, I'm gonna document everything. And if something happens to me, this person has it, this person has it, and if something happens to them, this person. So I don't think they're that dumb, but you never know. A lot of them are involved, man. And like I said, nothing can stop what is coming. And it's gonna come.
I want to say that you're right, because does anybody remember a supposed incident when McAfee died and an entire building went down in Florida?
That's right.
Supposedly. I'm not saying it's
about
true.
that,
I'm
right?
just saying it's coincidental that it did.
We seem to forget the bombings that happened to it that took out that AT&T building as well, and all that stuff that took place.
yeah.
Okay, now
In Nashville?
to your point, bro. Even if there is no dead man switch, they have America under such a blanket that I don't think, even if the corruption allegations came out to be true, that anyone would see any results from it.
No.
Right now, the people that are in the power structure of it, that have the say over everyone, let's just be admitting of this one thing: it's rhinos and lefties. And the amount of people that have their heads straight are too small to do a whole lot unless they do an egregious thing. And so even if it were to hear tomorrow that they found 50 million in gold bars in Nancy's house, the same way they found nothing wrong with that incident with her husband, and that crackhead was in his house getting head from him. If that nothing happened then, you're not going to expect anything else to happen now. This is why I don't think you're going to see. They have to put all their eggs in one basket, and right now they put it in the basket that anyone who is anti-global agenda will get prosecuted.
That's right.
If you're pro world agenda, we're going to let you be. And so a lot of these people, whether or not they have the intentions of living like that, that's what their plan is. If I go with the plan, I can do whatever I want. I can make some money, and they'll get me off the hook. And that's exactly what's going to happen with Bobby.
Yeah, that's true. And here's the thing with the whole system, as Marlon was alluding to, the whole system needs to be revamped. I'm talking about from the top all the way down to the lowest level. Everything needs to be revamped, and especially the judicial system. The judicial system is one of our biggest problems when it comes to equality in this country. True equality. Right. What these states and the federal government, they have to go back to constitutional law. Blanket across the board. Until that happens, we're going to constantly see corruption. We're constantly going to see a two-tier justice system. It's never going to end until we go back to constitutional law and ditch that maritime crap.
I
Just
think
saying.
I think part of it too is like you have these, and this has always been my problem. Okay, so like you have, let's say we'll do some scenarios. So, um, person A and person B. Person A has killed someone, and they killed them in a really gruesome fashion. Person B killed them, but they didn't kill them in a gruesome fashion. People will look at person A and say they need more time because of the way they killed somebody, and person B will need less time because of the way they killed somebody.
Yep.
I say person A and person B get the exact same time because you both ended a life.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the instant that you do that, there is no more of this middle ground. And oh, you can get off if you give me this information. No, fool. If you broke the law, this is the punishment right here. Bam. The same way they give certain fines for going a certain speed. If you break the speed limit, if that's what you say the law is, which I don't think it's a fair law. I think if you're going fast and if you can handle your car, handle your car. But say the fine is $75 for breaking the speed limit. I don't care how much over the speed limit you're going. If you're going to write me a ticket, it's $75. That would be equality. But it will never happen because then you can always have people to say, well, there's a caveat to my case, and there's a this to my case, and there's a that to my case. And as long as we have these exit wounds, you're always going to find these varying things that say, well, if you look at my history and my I don't care whether or not you've been convicted before or not convicted before, whether it's your first time offense or your 1500 time offense. The punishment should be the punishment, not based on the whims of a judge or how well a defendant can speak.
Well,
And I think once we fix that, we'll be fine.
There's an addendum I want to put onto that. This is something I've argued before. If the worst crime you commit in the United States is murder, but we have punishments that exceed murder charges, right? So doing more than 25 to life, right? Does that mean murder is not the worst charge? Because that's the thing. It's like if you're charging somebody for a financial crime and you're putting them behind bars for 120 years, that's 25 to life. They didn't kill anybody, right? Is that the worst crime? Because that's the thing we should be looking at. Is like you can't charge somebody for a financial crime and give them the same amount of years as somebody that killed someone. That's not equal. That's not equal justice at all.
Right. And someone mentioned, speeds vary and all that stuff. And here's my thing: you can kill someone at 25 miles an hour.
Yeah. Hell, you can kill somebody at 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's put it like this: school bus, you're supposed to stop. You don't stop. You go 15 miles an hour around the bus. You hit a kid. The kid dies.
Yeah.
You still, either way, you won. You broke a traffic law, but 2, no matter how fast you're going, you killed somebody. I don't care whether or not you could, if you're going to make the rule, this is the speed limit here, and you say it's for safety, and you say you care about people, then just follow the rule. It's not, and if you break the rule, don't be surprised that you got a ticket. It's kind of obvious. But then again, maybe that's because I'm thinking too logically about this.
Yep.
And maybe that might be our biggest problem, is that we're expecting logic from a system that's illogical.
Like how they're charging Trump, right? They're trying to put him away for life. If he
More
gets
than
convicted on his charges that he has, he will be in jail for life until the end of his life.
Yes.
That's what they're trying to do. And he didn't kill anybody. That's what I mean. It's like the punishment of the crime, and that's unconstitutional to charge somebody more than what the capital punishment is. Right?
Well,
That's our standard. Right? Is murder is the worst thing you can do. That's the standard. That's the capital punishment right there.
Well, you even look at, you don't even necessarily have to commit a crime to be indicted for equal charges of murder. Like you said, Coy, the leader of the Proud Boys, he wasn't even there in January 6th, and they're putting him away for 22 years, which is literally a murder charge.
Yeah.
For not murdering anybody.
Yep.
And you have people that have murdered people that are, at a young age that do like a couple years and still get out on some type of probation. So you're saying this guy that supposedly was at Jan 6, it's more of a threat than this person that murdered somebody. Right, but you release this person on good behavior or whatever, because they were a minor when it happened. But this guy who wasn't there, who didn't commit a violent act, he gets 20-something plus years for something he didn't even do. And this is just a witch hunt. This is the judicial system that we're dealt with. This is one tactic that they use to keep the American people from fighting back to a tyrannical government. They show you these injustices in the judicial system to scare you. They're like, oh, we put him away. He wasn't even there. What are you going to do? If you show up, we're going to put you away longer. So it's a scare tactic to keep us shut up, to keep us silent, to keep us from voicing our opinion. This is all this is.
You know, who's that famous prominent feminist activist that was responsible for bombing the Capitol building that is walking free right now?
The black lady.
The one, the
Panther lady?
Shabazz.
Yeah, like the Weather Underground people.
Yeah, I
ones that
forget her
were
name.
Yeah.
What's her name?
bombings back in the 60s and 70s, right? They're walking free right now.
And she was a campaign advisor too for a Democrat for a while there too. The thing about what's going on here with all of these people, and the reason why I think Menendez will not be made an example of, is because he has passed laws that not only benefited him, he's passed laws and helped pass laws, I should say, because you don't do it individually. I get that, but he has voted for laws that have helped his cronies as well. Now, if you help me, and I know that you have something, and I take the fall, I also can't take the chance that you might stick to my side. I have to help you out. Because I have to take the chance. I cannot take the chance of you spilling your guts and me getting implicated in this, because we both got involved in this. And this is why I think both Democrat and Republican are going to come to his defense. The reason they're asking him to step down is so that it doesn't taint the seat that he's in. That's the only reason they're asking him to step down. But the person that's waiting to fill his seat is no different. So it's not going to be like they're not going to skip a beat. So even if they say, okay, he's going to step down, but he's refusing to. He's also running for re-election too, by the way. He's not going to give up, and he knows he's not going to get anything, because he's already said, he's like, sometimes they get it wrong, so don't worry about it. Like, sometimes they get it wrong. I was about to say the N-word. Man, they found gold in your house, bro. Yep. They found money in your jacket. They found fingerprints. They found everything, and you still gonna walk free.
He's telling you exactly how the system works. Like I said earlier, they're mocking us. He's mocking us, telling us pretty much nothing's going to happen. You know, I'm still going to go for re-election. I'm still going to do. He's just making fun of us to our face, saying, you citizens don't have what I have. You don't have the rights and the privileges as me, an elitist has. And I'm going to throw it in your face and show you don't. It's a messed up system, man, and people just got to stop following it. You got to be more defiant.
There it is. Yeah, and that, when people ask why we don't expect them to get prosecuted. We know we're way past that. Our goal is to educate enough people to stop voting for them.
Yeah.
Now, if we can sway the voting concept, even if we persuade them not to vote. When we have, say, for instance, they're banking on 100,000 people to vote, and only 10,000 people vote. Okay, they can't then come back and say we have and won by 50,000 votes, because now you're going to have people that say, "How? Because I didn't vote." Now, if I didn't vote and you still won by that margin, please tell me how.
Okay, so now, he did step down.
He's not gonna. That's not gonna last. Trust me, it's not gonna last. This is not going to be something he's gonna hold on to. Just watch. He is in too much invested to step down. Way too much. But with this particular case, we're not trying to tell people not to or to vote, but we have to let you know what you're voting for. Right. And the more exposure we can bring to these, the more lights we can bring to them, the better it is for at least, okay, let me rephrase, for the intelligent population. Because we understand there are going to be stupid people, and I'm going to call you what you are, morons, the idiots of society, the slow people, smooth brain, short bus, window lickers, hard hat wearing clowns. We know you exist, and you're going to vote for these people because you are just like them. We get that. We understand, and we're not talking to you because there's no talking to you. We are talking to the people who have been bamboozled by silly little promises and hopeful people. Stop holding out hope for them and just watch their actions. Because if we show you what they're doing and they keep doing it, this is twice now this clown has done this. If you still end up voting for them, I'm going to class you with the window lickers. I'm putting you over there with the small people that don't know what they're talking about. So it's up to the rest of the population to think differently, I think. And that's the whole point, is to think differently. Crayon eaters, all of them. We have to stop letting them rule and start thinking differently. What's this?
So he did officially step down, and this is the guy that replaced him, Cardigan.
Trust. I'm going to say it again. This is temporary.
Yeah, I believe
this
it too.
dude is 79 years old, by the way.
I don't believe it's going to say. But what I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
What I was going to say about the voting, right? So a lot of times we vote what we're comfortable with, and we're all guilty of it. When I was in Texas, you had somebody like Ted Cruz, and everybody knows who Ted Cruz is. And you get a bunch of people that you've never heard of on there. What you need to do, and we keep talking about it, find out what those people are about that you never heard of. See what they stand for. Because a lot of people just vote what they're familiar with, and it's just a revolving door, man. You vote for them, they promise something, they don't. Voting time comes around, they promise something, they don't. You're just back and forth. Vote for the people you never heard of, because it's like rolling a dice with these politicians nowadays. It's like playing Russian roulette with them. Vote for the people that hasn't been there for 10, 15, 20 years. That's comfortable. Vote for that guy named Willie. I was gonna say Willie Lump. That's called Gerald Barker. Who the heck is Gerald Barker? I don't know. I ain't never heard of him, but hey, it's better than Mitch McConnell. I'm gonna vote for this guy here who can't lose. We're already losing. So, just research the people that you're voting for. And this is how we start to change this cycle, because they bet on us not being informed of these candidates that are running, that are unknown. They know we're not looking them up. We're only focusing on the Ted Cruzes, the Mitch McConnells, all these big
headlines,
names, the headlining politicians. Start focusing on the people that aren't in the headlines. They're hiding them for a reason.
Yep.
So what he stepped down from was a committee.
Yeah, okay? Yeah. Now he didn't step down from his seat, but
that's what I'm saying. He won't step down from that. He'll step back from the committee to give them space just to see what he's gonna do. But he's gonna get back at the top of that committee in about another 6 months.
Yep.
This case ain't going anywhere.
The guy that replaced him, he's been in his position for 16 years. He is worth $5 million with a base area of 174.
Of course,
yeah.
Go figure, man. Go figure. Look, it's no different than what happened in Chicago, right? When Beetlejuice stepped down, and that Mr. Rico Suave Negro took over. He's the same. He's just a male version, a true male version of Beetlejuice.
Right.
He is what Beetlejuice was hoping to be, a man. That's the only difference. Beetlejuice was praying that she would one day become a man, and her wishes come through. And there she is, standing in all her glory as a man, right there in front of everybody. Chicago ain't gonna be no different there in terms of leadership. This is why I told people in Chicago, you got to stand up and kick these clowns out of there. You're the last hope. Ain't nobody coming to save Chicago but people from Chicago.
And it's funny. I think New York's starting to realize that too.
Oh gosh,
it's starting to heavily swing in Republican favor, because you look at all the immigrants coming in and how they're treating citizens. Like there was a protest in New York, and they arrested the citizens, not the illegals. Not the buses that were coming in that they were protesting. They arrested the protesters instead of sending the illegals back.
Go figure.
There's no way that plays well in the general election next year. No way.
And meanwhile, isn't the politician sitting there telling New Yorkers to take in an immigrant into your household, open up your home for these people?
Open your heart. Open your heart and your soul to them. Right? Now I'm gonna open my door and kick them out. Is what I'm gonna do.
This whole open up your door stuff is nothing new. You think back to COVID, right? When the peak of COVID was going on. You remember at some time they were trying to push this, the FEMA, whoever, WHO was trying to push this quarantine homes. So if you have COVID and another family has COVID, you guys combine in the same home, and that's like a red house, and then a COVID free house is the green house, and you guys all share a habitat. It's the same thing they've been trying to push. This is
that seriously a thing?
Yeah, this is all part of the smart city solution.
Yeah,
you guys got to think beyond what they're saying. Smart cities, this is how they want us to live. They want families all living together in these houses to where we take up less space. It's the same concept. Allow these families in. For how long? Well, until we can find adequate homes for them. It could take up to like 10 years, but I
don't know why
people do it.
Like
government
people in cities. I don't understand that. I've never got that. Why are people that are so for the environment always want to put people in cities? Like that is the least environmentally friendly thing you can do, is to put somebody in a city.
Control infrastructure. It's easy to control people in cities.
Yeah. It's easier to get votes in a city too.
Yeah, it's easy to control. There won't be votes by that time.
Okay, so I wanted to show you guys because Washington State is notorious for this because I don't know how many of you knew this. Since we're talking about it real quick, I want to bring it up because the point I wanted to bring up about it, that they're not covert about what their goal is anymore. Okay, we know that.
Yeah.
But they also are, to Bro's statement about these smart cities, they have been pushing it in not just places like New York and California. They did it here in Washington State. So I'm going to have you watch this. And this is what we've been having to deal with when it first happened, okay? And this is why I think Washington, Oregon, California, possibly Michigan, Baltimore, and Chicago are going to be part of the new 15-minute city things.
County has started to work on temporary housing for people who need to be quarantined because of a coronavirus exposure. KOMO's Matt Markovich is in West Seattle, where they started moving in some trailers just this afternoon. Matt?
Yeah, Molly, we're in the White Center neighborhood of West Seattle, the 200 block of 112th Street Southwest. And you can see the trailer behind the fence over there behind that truck. They just moved that in this afternoon. Those buildings in the foreground will be demolished to make way for 7 more of these trailers. One trailer could be ready for occupancy later this week. Trailers intended to isolate patients under quarantine are going into an empty lot surrounded by apartment buildings in West Seattle. Trailers that for months have been mothballed at the old Fisher Mill on Harbor Island, intended to house the homeless.
They're kind of like little mini hotel rooms. They have 2 beds in each, and public health will determine if there's going to only be 1 person in each room.
Up to 8 will go here, potential housing for 40, initially without water or sewer. So it's porta potties for now, and there'll be other locations.
We have identified multiple sites for these facilities, and we're confirming their feasibility quickly.
Eventually, they'll look like these trailers and rooms inside the newly opened Eagle Village, temporary housing for Native Americans in Soto. It's part of King County's emergency response to the spread of the virus, which includes the first opening of the EOC, the county's Emergency Operations Center in Renton, for a public health crisis in more than 20 years.
At this point, we don't know when it's going to end.
The EOC is equipped to handle responses to earthquakes and
For as long as
terrorist
we can make it
attacks.
happen.
Now it's handling logistics for area cities, like finding hand sanitizer, which is running in short supply.
Figuring out how we can fill it and either trying to fill it ourselves or reaching out to other partners or contractors, or if we need to, the state.
The city of Seattle has opened up its JIC, or Joint Information Center, for its response. But all major health decisions are coming out of the HMAC, or Health and Medical Area Command Center, run by Public Health in downtown Seattle.
This is where people congregate are actively taking measures to prevent the spread of the illness. KOMO's Suzanne Fawn joins us live in Seattle with more on what it means for senior center. Suzanne?
Oh, this would be good.
Well, at many places like senior centers, they are double checking and triple checking, making sure that everything is clean and that everyone remains healthy. At Greenwood Senior Center, Francis Cargill and many other seniors enjoy a hot meal every day. They also attend any number of events or lectures or dance or exercise classes. Facing a possible coronavirus outbreak in our region, the Senior Center has put up these signs informing everyone of the symptoms of coronavirus. Signs also remind people to wash their hands off.
Back up a little bit.
Back up.
Man. It's so crazy to watch this in like hindsight, man.
Yeah, just scroll just a little bit further, like 2 seconds. 2 seconds forward. A couple seconds forward.
Okay, there.
A
little bit
possible
more forward.
coronavirus outbreak in our region, the Senior Center has put up these signs informing everyone of the symptoms.
When did headache,
that's a cold,
dizziness, all become coronavirus symptoms?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
When people stopped caring about coronavirus and started calling it the flu or the cold, so they just said,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Everything is it.
Everything is coronavirus. You got itchy skin, that's coronavirus.
You can't pay your bills.
Yep, coronavirus. You stubbed your toe, that's coronavirus, and all that stuff. But you notice how, you know, this is how, like I said, this is how they mock us.
Yeah.
He said they're worried about what? Filling up what? Hand sanitizer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Forget the symptoms. But we do need hand sanitizer. We got to figure out a way to fill that up. These people,
like
man. I can't.
It's funny. It's funny to see this in hindsight, dude, because all of the crazy things that we know weren't true the entire time, and they just like, hey, you remember that article where they're like, hey, forgive us for all the stuff we did during COVID,
I remember
right?
Pandemic
Like,
amnesty.
even though we were right about everything. Oh no, actually, it's coronavirus too. Yeah, that's true. And the numbers where they're gonna in like maybe 5-10 years from now, they're gonna come back and say, hey, you know all those deaths where it says died with coronavirus? Yeah, those were all fake.
Yeah,
That's what they're going to come out. It's like the amount of people that died through coronavirus or the plague of 2020 wasn't actually as big as we thought it was.
I don't think they'll ever admit that. I don't think they'll ever admit that.
They're going to have to one day because what happened to like heart disease, cancer, heart attacks,
COVID,
AIDS,
coronavirus,
HIV,
cured it.
everything was. You never
did they have
stopped
corona
hearing
when
about
they died of heart disease? Okay, it's corona.
everything was coronavirus. Everything. And there. Remember when AOC came out? We're going to extend the olive branch.
Remember that Atlantic article?
I will burn.
Let's call for a pandemic amnesty.
I will burn that branch. Watch me burn that branch right in your hand.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't want your olive branch. I don't want it. You guys made our lives a living hell for 3 years. I don't want your branch. Menopause. Them hot flashes can be, symptoms of coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
Look,
it's just amazing.
If you guys think we're off topic, we're not, because all of it has to do with corruption. It's all corruption, which is why none of these people will ever face the light of justice. However, they're not going to face the light of justice on this end of heaven, but they may at the end of it. Now, here's my thing. While we hear, those of us who are in the search of the truth and what is right will listen to this message, watch and go look and do your own research and come to the conclusion whether to or not to vote come 2024, which will not happen. I will still stick by that. But if it does happen, and I am ultimately wrong, please vote with wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't vote with wisdom, you're only going to see the same thing.
The reason why it ties into it is because of this page I have up, right, is the largest amount of settlements that pharmaceutical companies have made in the United States for fraud. Right? Look at the number 2. Pfizer for $2.3 billion for off-label promotion and kickbacks.
Kickbacks,
and they are still in business.
Kickbacks, go figure.
Right? Those are the people that made out. Same thing with Johnson & Johnson, $2.2 billion for off-label promotion and kickbacks. These people are still in business. They were the ones responsible for selling you the COVID jibbity jibs, right? That they got paid for by the U.S. government, who have lobbyists in the U.S. government, right? So they're going after Trump for fraud. These people have already been convicted of fraud and are still in business,
and not
selling
only in business,
you and
making
getting
money,
government money from your taxpayer dollars to fraud you again.
Under the guise of safety and security. I know there was this little verse. There was a little verse in the Bible that talked about safety and security. I don't know,
Listen, they're changed, man. They've changed. Like Saddam Hussein's change in South Park. Hey, guy, I've changed.
At the end of the day, what the American people need to understand is defiance. Stop playing the game. Stop buying into their fear tactic, their fear mongering. Stop voting for them. Stop getting the shot. Stop following their rules. Stop doing it all. Stop it. The more we play into it, the more we buy into it, they're going to keep getting stronger and stronger with their tactics. The minute the majority of Americans, people say, we're not doing this no more. Screw your rule. Turn off the TV. We're not watching your news. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. We're not paying your taxes. We're not doing this. They're going to freak out. So it's our fault. Like we always say on the show, everything that's happening, and I'm going to say Americans as a whole, it's our fault. We allowed it.
We got here by ourselves.
Yep, we allowed it all.
And we have a way to, slightly undo most of it, and that's by getting your brain back in the game. No more sitting on your laurels and just hoping that the TV will tell you how to vote. You got to think logically, do your own research, and if that means don't, then don't.
I forgot I was muted. But Pfizer's been hit with fraud charges twice. in less than 10 years and paid a fine, and that was it. But they're still running. Even though they were convicted of fraud by the U.S. government for selling faulty products, they still get allowed to get government contracts to sell you more things. That's how insane everything's gotten, is that we can have blatant corruption in the United States. We can see it. We can see it with our eyes. And they're just like, what corruption?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? There's no corruption in the United States. We're not a third world country. Oh my gosh, you're pretending like we're some African Congo nation. My God.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember Leslie Nielsen and that big blowing up thing behind it? Move along. There's nothing to see here.
Yep.
That's all I think about is people in government. Wild entire of America is going to pot, and he's standing in the devil. Move along. There's nothing to see here. Everything is fine. Go home.
They're all magicians, man. You know, think of the magician on stage. You know, the sleight of hand. You know, you're entertained, and then he poof, and he does something over here, and you're looking over there now. Like, how did that happen? But what was happening over there? I forgot the trick.
He took your money.
What they do. They're going to show you. They're going to show you. Then they're going to go, Shazam. And then you're looking over here. Then you already forgot what they were doing over here, because now they're making this over here the big story. Focus on the prize. Remember everything. Write everything down. Record everything. Screenshot everything so you never forget. Because they try to delete stuff. We know it. Screenshot everything.
Just like the whole thing with so they're getting rid of Trump's organizations for fraud, even though these other companies that have actually killed people with their products get off scot-free.
Live on.
They live on. They weren't dissolved. They weren't taken to court, to ground, nothing. They just paid a fine. And it's like, hey, it was cheaper to put out faulty products and kill people and pay the fine than it was to recall any of it.
Well, the people that would have sent them to jail anyway was getting, as you say, the kickbacks. So
they've got stocks in Pfizer.
Why would I get rid of my golden calf when I can keep it? You know,
that's right.
I'm not going to melt it down. In any case, the indictment's out, and you're going to not hear about this much anymore. The same way you didn't hear about Hunter's gun case anymore. It just kind of went quiet, and the same way the laptop went quiet. And all of a sudden, Bob is going to get quiet too. I know they're going to pervade the news with all about Trump this and Trump that and Trump that to keep you from looking at their own corruption. That's what's going to happen. So I'm not hopeful about it. We're still going to tell you about it when we get the info, but at the same time, I'm not holding out hope that any of them are going to get, you know, the justice that they deserve. So the most we can do right now is if you do believe in God, trust God. If you don't, you better find something to trust. It won't be government. I'll tell you that. Don't.
They think they're God.
Whatever you do, don't trust government. That's all I'm asking you. Don't trust everything else but God. Heck, you can trust tap water out of Flint before you trust the government. Okay.
Yep.
Gas station
a lot too.
Okay.
And like I said, if Bob Menendez doesn't at least face 20 years in prison, then Enrique Tarrio needs to be freed.
Yeah,
and that won't
all
happen.
of them need to be free,
and that won't happen. We know.
I'd rather lick the bottom of a homeless person's
because
foot who walked
the dude
10 miles
literally
before I
sold out
trust
the United States government and people for money. Literally committed treason, and he's just gonna walk.
Yeah,
that's insane to me.
Bill Clinton did.
Yeah, same thing. They all of them.
Yeah, they all do.
In any case, continue, but like I said, nothing can stop what is coming.
Nothing. We'll be back Friday. No topic yet. People, don't arrest us yet. There's tons of stuff out there, but we haven't picked it yet. And our Rumble will not be this Saturday. It'll be the following Saturday, but we will be back with it. By then, everyone will completely be settled in, and we'll be all good to go. So keep your eyes open for when we come back on Friday. Make sure you get the notification bell lit and all that stuff so you know when we're on. But you should know by now, we've been doing this for about 7 months. 6:30 Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If we got to keep reminding you, then your brain is just as bad as mine. Get some help. Stop it. Get some help. In either case, we'll see you guys on Friday with a new topic and a whole slew of information that you won't probably get anywhere else. Mr. Lee?
So like, share, comment, and subscribe. We'll see y'all Friday.
Peace.